Podcast, a podcast that inspires the present-day visionary to rise to their best life. My name is Aylin and I'm an astrologer and numerologist. I'm best known for cutting right through the noise and bringing the most important messages to you. Welcome to Uprise Astrology Podcast, friends. Today we are going live to take a look at the astrology for all of my Libra rising friends. You can also listen to your sun sign, but preferably if you do know that you are a Libra rising, then this is going to be a more accurate picture of what this month is going to bring to you. Now, first things first, I want to start out by just saying that this is going to be a really big month for all of my Libra rising friends, simply because I think that you guys are going to be able to release a lot of doubt and actually take more deliberate action. Now, we're going to dive into the month. There's so much that's going on. There are so many things that are going to be happening. I think that many of you are going to be pleasantly surprised by the time that the month is coming to an end, that you have sort of trusted yourself a little bit more, released more doubt, or you will look back and just realize that that is something that you've done. So first things first, I am going to cover week by week. So if you are here for the very first time, thank you so much for being here. I am going to be covering week by week the most important transits for this month because there's so much going on. I am going to be covering almost every single transit that is happening. So if you like to, write it down, if you want to make sure that you are not missing anything, you can do that. I always highly recommend that. Kind of pull out your calendar and just start, writing things down. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be taking a look at the first week, like I said, and quite literally on October 1st. Actually, it's going to happen from the 1st through the 3rd. For you guys, there is going to be a Mercury opposition happening with Neptune between your 12th and your 6th house. Now, Mercury-Neptune oppositions are usually around clarity. Now, this can also be an issue around honesty between you and people that you are living sort of in the day-to-day or coming across in the day-to-day with. So this can be coworkers, this can be people that are part of the type of lifestyle that you're living, or it could be just in general about your very own sort of faith or lifestyle, because Mercury is going to be in your 12th house, Neptune is in your 6th house. You have been working on bringing a lot more clarity into the type of lifestyle and the kind of health or rituals or the day-to-day, rhythm. What does that look like? These are the types of things that you're trying to bring some more clarity. Now, this is going to be a time where I think for a lot of you, you have to be sort of cautious around things that don't make sense for you. If it doesn't make sense between your spirituality and also your lifestyle, may not be something to attempt to go after, especially first couple of days of October, okay? This is going to be sort of a story that continues to evolve though, because on October 3rd, Mercury then moves direct in your 12th house. So when Mercury moves direct in your 12th house, this is going to be a time, I think, when many of you are actually going to, there is this that comes here, but it's also a time where a lot more information is going to be coming your way, or you will have to try to figure out things that you have been sort of putting your mind on when it comes to your spirituality, your faith, your just overall the meaning of your life. There's a lot more that is coming sort of back online. You've been reviewing this aspect of your life quite a bit. Your mind may have been a bit foggy when it comes to just kind of questioning things that just don't make sense in your life anymore. So when Mercury goes back online, awareness comes back into the picture where communication is coming in fast. And this will have to do with you looking for some type of support or actually finding the support that you're looking for. Many of you may have been looking for sort of a support when it comes to identifying more of what the meaning of your life really means for you, whether that is through a therapist, but whether that is through a coach. Those types of scenarios could, play out as well, where you're starting to kind of figure out more support, or what support actually looks like. And how you feel about it, right? What you think about those types of things. So Mercury moves direct here, which, again, this month has so much coming. There is a sense of relief, but also there is a bunch of sort of new insights coming your way. So make sure that you are taking the time that you need in order to process it all, because there's a couple more planets that are coming back online this month. So October 6th through the 7th, Mercury then trines Pluto at 26 degrees. This is going to be happening between your 12th and your 4th house. What's the 4th house? The 4th house is your upbringing. It is what it is that you kind of were brought up with, and you shaped your entire world around those types of patterns, those types of beliefs, your comfort zones. This can also pertain to family, and in general, just like who is going in and out of your home, right? Who are part of your entire home. This can be the physical home, or who you are, who you let into your world, right? The 4th house are the closest people to us that surround us. Now, Pluto has been here for quite some time, redefining what home and home life actually really looks like. And so that trine between Mercury and Pluto, between your 12th and your 4th house, this is going to be a time, I think, for a lot of you where you're going to be leading yourself to confront any kind of issues, where I think a lot of you are just so much more willing to take a look at any problems, anything that comes your way that might even arise during this kind of period in the first week of October. You might sort of circle back to a issue that you had when it comes to family members, when it comes to your upbringing, or something within you that you've been wanting to solve. Like, why are certain things very difficult for you? Why are there mental blockages? Maybe right now you are starting to identify what those pieces are, and you're starting to see that you can actually let that thing go, or you can kind of transform it or become a lot more flexible with it. These are the types of very good things that you can get out of this Mercury trine Pluto. And in general, your focus is going to be increased. So anything that you're doing from the 6th to the 7th, you're leading your way forward, and whatever comes up during these 2 days, it's going to further validate any pros and cons you've been weighing out between your spirituality, your faith, the meaning of your life, and then also your upbringing. Something gets really, really validated here. You're rising above a situation. That is the feeling behind what I see behind this Mercury trine Pluto. Now, moving on, October 8th, what's really fascinating is we get this sort of endurance boost. First week of October, we start to realize that we're leading our way forward now, and then Pluto goes direct on the 8th. Now, this is going to be in your 4th house, like I said. For many of you, Pluto direct in the 4th house is just going to continue to regenerate you from within. Okay, this is going to be a time where anything else that is sort of in the way is going to get moved out of the way. That's Pluto's promise. Pluto's promise is truth. And also, there is a level of humbleness that comes to this. So something gets even further clarified here over the next several weeks, where you will start to realize that, wow, you've really changed as a person. You've really changed a lot from who you were maybe 5-10 years ago, even maybe even 2 years ago. Many of you may have changed the definition of home, and that has changed you, who you are. And so there is this validation that comes through over the next several weeks. There's forward movement when it comes to home, family, and what the meaning of all of that is. And this is going to be a regenerating time. You're going to feel actually like, yeah, you're finally moving on forward in a new direction. Okay. Now let's move on to the second week of October, because this week, when I was taking a look at everything this week, this was like a very interesting week here. Just because of this Mars square Neptune that is happening from the 9th until the 15th. And why is this so interesting? First and foremost, that Mars is now in your 9th house. It's going to stay here until about mid-March of 2023. Mars is going to retrograde here in the ninth house. We will get back to that in just a moment, that retrograde. But Mars now here is bringing up the conversation about the big picture of your life, ideas that you have about the future. Okay. You are maybe rethinking something about the future. And you could also actually feel at the same time very inspired to get a lot of things done that you have been wanting to maybe publish. You've been wanting to put it out there, but you haven't had sort of clarity of what it is that you wanting to put out there because you didn't maybe know what sticks. Okay. You're also at the same time figuring out the meaning of your life, the meaning behind certain things, which is where Mercury was at. So now Mars is in this square from the 9th until the 15th with Neptune in your sixth house at 23 degrees. First and foremost, this is going to be a strange week. Okay. There's a strange feeling in the air. And the reason for that is because this Mars Neptune square is actually helping us to identify what we need to be cautious around. Okay. There might be something or someone or a situation that is presenting itself in a really strange way. So, caution during this week. Okay. Neptune is in your sixth house, meaning that this will have to do with impacts on lifestyle. This will have to do with any organizational pieces. And so, stuff that you're trying to kind of maybe even publish, or a course that you're trying to complete, or something that you're trying to wrap your head around, this might be a time to really grapple with that kind of a thing. But at the same time, you're starting to realize that you need to have sort of a caution, or you need to kind of fine tune what it is that you're taking a look at, what it is that you're being communicated, what it is that you're thinking, because during this time, you will start to realize that maybe there is a sudden twist in intentions. This may come up as the month is progressing. So you want to watch out for sudden twists in someone's intention, or the storyline just kind of becoming a little bit more messy in a situation that you didn't anticipate. Okay. Be aware of secrecy around here when you're dealing with people. Be aware of sort of some kind of weird blaming situation that could be going on back and forth. And also in general, if you're not experiencing any of the things that I just mentioned, there could be an impatience here. There could be sort of a quick tempered way to deal with things when it comes to something that you have to study, something that you're trying to get to publish. There could be sort of an impatience that comes up here. Again, take your time. Okay. Real quick, I do want to mention that all week long, if you are a dreamer, you remember majority of your dreams. This can be dreams about oceans, boats, navigating any kind of cold weather, roads situation. You could have a lot of dreams in regards to that, because that Mars Neptune can bring up sort of anything where we're in a vehicle, any kind of moving forward motion, and then water, Neptune, right? So you could have these types of dreams. And so pay attention to your dreams, okay? Many of those could have some messages for you. Then moving on to October 9th, this is when this is, of course, going to be happening for many of you in your seventh house. So relationships right now are starting to clarify. If you're doing anything during this time that is really important in regards to relationship matters, just know that this full moon, the message of this full moon is quality over quantity when it comes to relationships. Okay. Maybe spending more quality time, maybe kind of maximizing your time with another person versus trying to do too much of it, or trying to like schedule too many dates in there, but then you end up not having this quality kind of experience. A little bit of an example here. Also, this full moon is going to give you guys a lot of sort of gut sort of instincts to follow certain relationships sort of pursuits. Okay. Many of you are redefining what your image, your character, your action plan is within relationships. And so right now here, you could actually have this experience where you will start to identify like, okay, this is what I want to pursue in relationships. This is what I want to do in relationships. Follow your gut instincts here, because this full moon is a highly active, full moon, and words are going to be powerful during this time. Okay. 16 degrees, words are going to be powerful and also heightened by you just realizing, there's an intuition that you're getting here. There's something that you do. And maybe you are trying to clean something up in relationships, or you're trying to sort things out in relationships. So this full moon right here is going to give you a great opportunity to do that. Okay. So I will actually talk a little bit more about that in another report. So make sure that you check that out. That's going to come out in the next couple, where I'm going to cover a little bit more in depth what this full moon actually means for you. Okay. So let's move on to October 10th. Like I said, there's so much going on. Mercury now moves into Libra. It exits your 12th house, moves into your first house. This is going to be a good time. I think all mental focus and all the conversations are going to be on moving things forward with things that you have been taking a look at when it comes to your character, some kind of strategy, who you want to be moving forward, and what that actually kind of looks like now. There's some clarity around that. There are some pieces that you've been working out that now are going to start to become a lot more solid. Mercury in Libra is highly creative, highly initiated by, just having conversations that are really meaningful to you, that are sort of in a place where you're envisioning something and you're bringing the conversation together, not only with yourself, but somebody else. So this is going to be a really, really good time, I think, for many of you, where I think you will enjoy this energy quite a bit, because all the conversations are coming into sort of a feeling of wanting to move things forward. And there is clarity around what it is that you now want to do next. And this is what I was saying in the very beginning, this month has a lot to do with you releasing more doubt. That doubt with Mercury being in that 12th house for you guys. This was a lot of rethinking of your faith, the meaning of things, and the meaning of certain spiritual topics, even, right? Like, you've been reviewing this. And so you're releasing a lot of this doubt, moving forward now, becoming a lot more solid in your action plans. Okay. Let's see here. So October 11th through the 12th. This is when the sun is going to be trining Saturn. Now, the sun is going to be in Libra in your first house. So the spotlight on you. When it forms the trine is going to go to your fifth house. That's where Saturn is at right now. This is going to happen at 18 degrees. The fifth house is the house of joy. It's the house of all the things you love. That's pretty much straight up majority of the time what this house has to do with. And it also is attached to children. Oftentimes it can also talk about like a romance or some kind of, romantic sort of, pursuit here. But majority of the time it has to do with your heart, has to do with what you vibe with. It has to do with what you're into. Okay. The things that make you really, really happy, that give you fulfillment, that ultimately also give you some kind of, a spotlight in a sense as well, because the more fun you have, the more of a spotlight you have on you, because you're enjoying life. It's like a magnetism here that gets created in the fifth house. Now, October 11th through the 12th, that sun trine to Saturn, this is going to be a time, I think, for many of you where you're going to start to realize, maybe for the first time with this Saturn transit here, that you're making more solid decisions to stick to the things that you must do daily in order for that to benefit you, in order for that to make you happy. You may have been working out actually overall what happiness actually looks like by just simply taking a look at the things that don't make you happy anymore. Many of you may have transitioned out of something that was a part of your identity that you no longer identify with. You're done with it. You've changed your mind, or you've realized that was purposeful for that time, but now it's no longer purposeful. Now you want basically something different, or you start to notice that you have different interests. These are the types of things that can come up. Sun trine Saturn. This is a time, I think, when many of you can really benefit from making a more solid decision over something that benefits you daily, and then anchoring down with it, right? Because Sun trine Saturn, this is like a maturing. And at 18 degrees, it's about making a decision that's solid in the day to day. It benefits you. So just make sure that you are not overcommitting during this time frame that I'm mentioning, because there is going to be a Mercury Jupiter opposition that is happening. That just brings up, sort of on the 12th, the conversation of, is this sustainable? So it's really important for it to be sustainable. That's something that I'm seeing here. But in general, I think this is a great time for self discipline, a great time to becoming centered again and reminding yourself to get back into action and moving forward. And it's exciting and energizing. Okay. Now, moving on to October 13th to the 14th. This is when also then Venus starts to trine Saturn. Venus is also in your first house here. A very good time for relationship building, a very good time for bringing in more of the quality type of relationships, or a focus on the quality of the relationships that you are wanting to nourish and really just bring into your life and kind of draw into your life, right? This is a time where I think when you are kind of making things more fun with that Sun Saturn trine, this is a really good like energy here to feel good in your relationships as a result of it. Things are coming together in a beautiful way. And just again, because of that Mars Moon, square all week long, you want to keep in mind that whatever decision that you're making, it must feel sustainable. Saturn in the picture is all about sustainability. It is all about what's real right now and also for the future. Because we have some higher degrees here for the future, it has to work for the future as well. So keep that in mind. All right. So I'm going to take a sip of my water. Just make sure, is anybody in the chat? If you are in the chat and you're tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from. All right. So I wanted to just real quick, before we move on to the next transit, quickly introduce myself. My name is Aylin Sky. I am an astrologer and numerologist. I focus a lot on the degrees in astrology. Welcome to this channel. If you are here for the first time, I would love for us to hang out. So subscribe to my channel, ring the bell. Every time you ring the bell, it is going to send you a notification when I'm here. And then that way you don't miss anything. You are up to speed with the latest sort of messages that are most important to you. So make sure you subscribe. I would love for you to join the Uprise Astrology Podcast family. Now, with that out of the way, let's move on to the next transit. And that is going to be October 17th through the 18th. This is when the sun is going to be trining Mars. This is a really nice energy, okay? It is like the week before is a bit foggy. There's some weird stuff happening with that Mars, Neptune. And then we're moving on to the third week where we're like big, bold action. Things are starting to move forward. There is sort of an enthusiasm that comes into the picture. 24 is very driven by what it wants to receive. What I mean by that is it's a perception energy, 24, but it's also an energy that then turns into some kind of a passion, something that you really like and that you're really vibing with. And so for you guys, this Sun Mars trine is going to happen between your first house and the ninth house. So there's some clarity now for the big picture. There's a vision for the big picture, and there's an aha moment. Like, why didn't I do this before? How come I didn't see this before? Type of energy here. Okay. So big, bold, enthusiastic action. Is rebooting. Okay, we're back. So let me mention this again. So October 20th through the 26th, this is when, through the span of those days, the sun is going to be in a conjunction with Venus. The solar eclipse in Scorpio is going to be happening during this week as well. That's going to be a whole separate video. I'm going to talk about that more in depth in another video. But this is sort of like a happy mood. a big time affection mood. Okay. It's going to get exact at 29 degrees, getting a taste for what life can be like. Okay. There's some kind of mastery for the first time over a situation or over an aspect of your life where you're like, I really wanted to nail that. I really wanted to get a sense for what that feels like. And yeah, so you get that sense for it, because what else is happening on the 23rd of this week, from October 23rd and on? Saturn is direct, Venus moves into Scorpio, and the sun moves into Scorpio. So all that energy that you're creating drops into your second house of money. So it's a very good time to kind of get sort of a new boost of energy when it comes to productivity, when it comes to money, when it comes to you wanting to create really good, value for yourself. So there is like a new storyline that is unfolding here. But what gives us a twist in the story is our very last transit I want to talk about is October 30th, and that is when Mars is retrograding. This is a new beginning, so to speak, but it's a long journey to that new beginning, because this is about solving issues. So there's maybe a couple of issues that could come up here when it comes to you, who you are, how you want to portray yourself, how you want to make money, and then that making money decision or being more productive, which is everything dropping from your first into the second house, then starts to communicate at some level over the course of many, weeks and months, with Mars in Gemini and then Mars retrograding here in the ninth house for you. You're going to be rethinking a lot about philosophy, approaching things. You could even just adopt like new beliefs during this time that are going to be really, really important. But it's a chance to free up much needed clarity here, to free up sort of space for more to come, and to bring life and sort of oxygen back here. And of course, there's more to talk about with Mars retrograde here in the ninth house, but we're going to cover that also in another video. So this is all I've got, you guys. Now, if you want to learn more about the overall pulse, October 2022, I have a separate video dedicated to this entire Libra season. I take a look at the new moon, and I also go more in depth of what you should focus on and why you should focus on it. So watch that video next. And I will see you in my next episode. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.